You're live.
What's up, everybody? The Heat just won 99-87 against the Indiana Pacers, completing the sweep. I apologize to you that I'm coming to you with the Andre Iguodala hairline, but you know what? Andre Iguodala led the team in plus minus today, so this is an homage to my man's right now. I'm giving him respect with the shoddy hairline. One thing I want to say, because I'm self-absolved, is that I called in the pregame show Heat by 12. I just want everyone to know that I've been within 1 point of the prediction in the last 3 games. Just wanted to say that it's not important. It actually is, but it's not important. With me today, I think we're going to have a couple people coming in and out. Listen, man, this is a celebration. The Heat are in the second round for the first time since 2016. Like, come on, guys. Like, there's something to be excited about here. Like, this is really good. Like, this is – right now, we're playing with house money because I think everybody walked into the season like the expectation for the Heat is a second round, right? So now we're in the second round. Let's go. So we have Simba of Sports. What's up?
What up?
We have Alfredo Ortega of 3 yards per carry fame.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, I've never met the other dude in the left-hand corner. I'm not being rude. I've never met you.
It's Clutch Sports, right?
Oh, that's Clutch Sports.
Yep.
I've never been on the show
Al.
with you.
Come on.
This is Clutch
Come on
Sports
now.
for a reason.
Sorry.
And see, he didn't have the Adam Barai thing before. I've never been on the show with you. So listen, follow Clutch Sports for a reason on Twitter. Excellent content. Okay, so what I want to get to first, before we get into anything else, yes, I have been drinking, by the way. I love to drink during Heat games. I want to go to you, Alfredo. One of the coolest things I've seen in the bubble with the Heat and in these playoffs is the Heat finding different ways to win, right?
Yeah.
74-point first half the other night, offensive explosion, 50-point second half, grinded out defensive, playing big defensive stops on the way to a win. Tonight, old school 90s basketball playoff game, found the way to win. What does that say to you about the Heat finding different ways to win, especially on a night that Jimmy Butler was hurt and wasn't getting you those easy free throws, easy points from the free throw line, and the Heat were not shooting well at all from 3?
They have options. They're a team that has options. They've had options all year, and there was a time there was a lull in the season right before the shutdown where the team didn't look sharp, and they really did look like they were going to lose in the first round. If that continued that way, the bubble started and they got back to the basketball they were playing before. And it's just about execution. It's the little things. And I got to say a huge apology to Andre Iguodala. I said on Twitter, he was unplayable in the regular season. In the bubble, he was barely playable. And now I think he's kind of essential. Like, I don't know if you guys saw it, but subtle things like grabbing a defensive rebound and pushing the ball up court at lightning speed. I don't know where that came from. Okay, and putting the pressure on the defense, creating fouls in transition.
Alfredo,
all those are momentum changers, and
Alfredo,
he was essential in winning this series the way it did.
Alfredo, he's running the point for them at times in the fourth quarter. I want to welcome Chris Maddox from Light Skin Opinions, the host of Light Skin Opinions. I know I'm the publicist for LSO, but that's the main cog in that show. I'm just a co-host. I'm almost comedy relief. That's the man who runs things. What's going on, Chris? And we can't hear you. Look at that. It's terrible. Okay, there you go.
I don't know why you.
Now we can.
You can hear me.
We can hear you now. But before I go to
what's going on, y'all?
We're good, man. Heat win. We're all happy. But before I go to Chris, I want to talk to Sim of Sports. I like to call you Matthew. I guess you don't like using your government on these programs, even though your face is out here. Listen, we all got facial recognition. The Russians got your information. The way the Heat are closing out games, and I think Alfredo brought something up that was really important. Andre Iguodala in the fourth quarter, playing point basically, doing all the little things. What what have you seen from Andre? What have you seen from the Heat in the fourth? I don't want to even go into Goran yet. I want a whole segment on Goran and what he's done. But go ahead. What do you think about the Heat in the fourth quarter? Like, how did they closing out games?
I think what you see with Andre is the ability to have options, right? Like it's, hey, we're not going to run it through the same person over and over and over. We have different ways to attack you. It makes it very hard to defend, right? Because you don't know who's going to be bringing it down, Andre or Tyler. And even if you know who's going to bring it down, you have to defend that, right? So it makes it totally different. And I think everybody kind of stepped up at the right time. And I think that's what you're seeing throughout this whole playoffs is during certain moments, somebody has to step up, right? Who's going to – because it's always going to get tough. Teams are always going to make runs. You're not always going to make shots. And sometimes you're going to play really good defense, and teams are still going to score on you. And the Heat have shown over and over throughout this whole playoff so far that no matter how hard it's getting, they're still able to – they're going to keep that lead most of the time, and they're still going to score some way or another in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, exactly. They find a way, and that's one of the things like you like to see from a playoff team. Find a way to get the win. Duncan Robinson isn't shooting well. Your 3-pointers aren't going down. You're not getting to the line. How are you going to win? The other night, it was, okay, Tyler Hero, you're not having the best game or you're not having the best defensive game. We're going to bring Jake Crowder into the closing lineup. Bam Adebayo is going to get 2 clutch offensive rebounds at the end of the game. Clutch NBA, I'm going to you next. The Heat out-rebounded the Pacers. I don't know the final number, but it was at least 20 rebounds. That ain't happening, I don't think, against the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah.
Like, that's not –
yeah, it's
with
not
Brook
happening.
Lopez in the paint, you don't have the same – like, they were bigger than the Bucks. It's going to be – they were bigger than the Pacers, I'm sorry. It's going to be one of the only teams that are bigger than for the rest of the playoffs, except for the Celtics. Bam, 19 rebounds tonight. I think that got lost on a lot of people. My man's had 19 rebounds tonight. Like, he had an amazing game. Give me your thoughts on Bam, your thoughts on the rebounding, and what does it mean going forward?
I think that it wasn't that the Heat are just generally a bigger team. I thought that they were just first on the ball a lot of the times, and I think that offensive rebounds. Some of the shots that they were missing, they were getting really lucky with the way that the ball went. Like, there was that one possession where the Heat got like 4 offensive rebounds because of Goran missing a shot badly, and then it would go to Tyler, and then Tyler missing a shot. But I think from just Bam by himself, I think he had like 8 rebounds or 9 rebounds in the first half. He was just a monster. He was on top of Miles, and he's been on top of Miles this entire series. And I think
Miles played well.
He did, but that's when it was a little too late, though. He started playing well and a little too aggressive when it's already 3-0. And I think that if
also noticed he couldn't get aggressive until Bam got off first, right? Like, he had to start the engine while Bam was off.
Right,
I'm not going to be a Pacers Twitter fan, but like, honestly, I don't think Nate McMillan uses him very well at all. Like, I remember aggressive Miles Turner from his like rookie and sophomore year. I don't see that anymore. Like, he's become like just a role player, and I thought that guy was.
Well, you're forgetting that he's the third guy behind Oladipo and Sabonis.
Yeah, but Sabonis isn't there. Why?
I know, but that's an adjustment that he is not ready to make, and that even all these seeding games in the bubble, none of them really got my man's ready to step up and be the the first option, because Oladipo's, he's hit or miss through this little stage right here. I think the Heat have probably one of the most well-constructed rosters of all the teams that you see in the bubble. They put a stat up during the game. At one point, the starters had 27 points, and the players off the bench had like 25. And but I want to say this, Alf, because you always hate when I go this way. This is why I hate. We do not need to chase big fish and big whales. What makes this team special is the fact that you have a unique group of guys who have gelled together and who complement each other's play styles. And then all I hear on Twitter and everything is everybody like, oh, yeah, now we got to show Giannis. Now we got to show Victor Oladipo. This is where to come. If Giannis comes to the Miami Heat, we become the Milwaukee Bucks, which might be great, but we've seen that they can be beaten. I love this team, and I think we have the perfect roster to match up with Milwaukee.
What I will say to you, and honestly, I don't want to get into a light-skin opinions argument because that's what we do on our show. We'll do that tomorrow. We're going to record tomorrow night. But what I will say to you is none of that mattered until we got the big fish and Jimmy Butler. Okay,
Yeah.
So let's
Jimmy is a midfish though. Let's be clear.
Listen, that man,
Jimmy and a
he's
superstar.
He's an alpha, and he's the kind of guy that draws the guys to your team. And what I will say, I actually wanted to go to you with this, but you said your piece, so I'm gonna go away from you now because you're always hating on Goran Dragic. So I'm gonna cut you out of this conversation.
I was actually gonna show Goran some love on this. In the bubble, this is the best Goran I've ever seen.
What do you score? 14 points in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, he's been super raw in the bubble, but I do think Goran gets a whole lot of like overrated love.
And I got something really interesting courtesy of Sun Sports. The Heat set a franchise record for the playoffs every single game of this series. In game 1, they had 1 second half turnover. New franchise record. Game 2, they had 18 threes made. New franchise record. Game 3, 124 points. New franchise record for the first round. Game 3, also 43 free throws made. New franchise record. Tonight, they had 60 rebounds. New franchise record.
The rebounds are ridiculous.
They rebounded the Pacers by 26.
26. It was 19 midway through the fourth quarter. So
Roy Hibbert ain't walking through that door.
Thank God.
So let's similar sports. Matthew, I'm not going to do your full government. Kendrick Nunn came back tonight and was effective. And one of my favorite things about Kendrick Nunn tonight, it wasn't just effective scoring because he scored all season. We know he can score. In the bubble, his shot was completely broken, couldn't get to the rim, couldn't finish anything. But we know that's going to come back. What was most heartening to me was that his defense was on point. He was going over screens, fighting through. He was in the right spots. Mm-hmm. Do you think this is something that we can look at going forward, or is this just it was Jimmy was hurt, they needed him, he jumped in, but we're not going to see him again?
No, I don't think it was that. I think this is a young kid who took it very well, being sat out for the beginning of the playoff series, because a lot of kids can lose their confidence, right, and be like, F this team, I brought you here and all this stuff. But, there's sort of a selfishness in every player, right? You don't get to the top by being the friendliest guy. And he could have easily been like, man, this sucks, whatever. He knew what he had to do. He knew why he was sitting down. And specifically, his individual defense got better, right? Because it's not that the team defense is what got his individual defense. He had some moments where he shut. Look, Brogdon is not the best offensive player, but he was giving, our point guards trouble over and over and over. And there was a time where none stopped him completely.
Yeah,
I'll say this about because I'm a huge fan of Kendrick Nunn, but that what you just were saying there, I think one of the big pieces of that is how this roster is set up. You don't have time to sulk. If Nunn had sat down and felt a way about it, I mean, what is your sulking going to accomplish? We've seen players elevate their games in the bubble on this team, so there's a good, healthy competition on this roster where. If you are a guy, I mean, look at what's going on with Myers Leonard. I mean, you got to fight for each one of these positions in each one of these sets of minutes. So Nunn has no choice really but to get along with the program. I did like his game tonight though, and I think I like that about him and Hero. These are two guys who they understand how to pick spots, and that's really a sign of maturity for two guys with their first like pseudo playoff experience. Because even though these games feel like very playoff intensity, they're still missing that playoff atmosphere. So I think that helps these young guys out as well too. They playing in a real hype ass pickup game right now,
What I will say was really cool is the way the bench responded to Kendrick Nunn's first three.
Yeah, I saw you post that.
Yeah, it shows you how tight this team is. Like they know, like listen, he played like trash in the opening games, and he does not deserve a spot. And he played his way out of his starting spot, but they still supported him. And if you look at every time the bigs come off the court, the first guy to greet them is always Myers Leonard. So yes, these guys are not happy with their playing time. I don't imagine Solomon Hill is all about being on the bench. You know what I'm saying? But they are making the sacrifices that they need to make. I'm going to go to Clutch.
But hold on, before you go off, is it wrong that Solomon Frederick Douglass Hill? Is it wrong if I say that he should just be happy that he got all that burned in the seeding games? Like, really?
He made a little name for himself. Yeah,
I mean, a very little name. Solomon, we appreciate it.
I can say this now. I can say this now because I got another light-skinned opinion member on here. Jimmy looks like Django Unchained.
Yeah.
He looks straight up like
the Wicks
are overgrown mustache.
But what I do love about it is I love the fact, and I think everybody on this show right now can agree with that. Like that, you know, that mythos you hear with the playoffs when guys are like, yo, I'm not shaving my facial hair, or I'm not caring about my personal visage because this is such business. That's what I get when I look at them. Like, they look rough, they look rugged, they look like some guys are like, yo, if we don't win these games, we can't go home. And I love that feel.
That's not what's going on with Jimmy. Jimmy just does not trust these barbers in the bubble. Yeah. I understand that.
He's just afraid of getting COVID right now.
I've been going to the same dude since 2006. So if he couldn't come up to the bubble with me, I ain't getting my hair cut. First of all, I look like trash right now.
We have to shout out the guy who gave the donation, George Miranda Jr.
Oh, first of all, George Miranda Jr. Let me tell you about this dude. He wore 2 different 5 Reasons shirts for the first and second half. He organized the biggest watch party we've ever had at Sports Grill in Kendall. Like, just a super, super great fan, very supportive of 5 Reasons Sports, almost part of the family at this point. Like, good dude. Thank you so much for your support. All of you guys who have supported the shit out of us. Like, there's been so many people saying they don't even watch other big networks post-game and pre-game shows if they just want to watch our stuff on YouTube, which is about as flattering as it gets. You know, I had a police officer fan that followed me around Sunrise for about 30 minutes this morning, which I was very flattered. But anyway, I keep doing that. You
wanted your autograph?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. There was no other reasons except that.
Did you lower your tent just enough to do a little?
No, I was walking wearing my Black Lives Matter LSO shirt, and apparently it was interesting to him. Anyway, I'm gonna go to Adam right now because I want to talk about. Chris brought this up. How Tyler Hero and Kendrick Nunn, they got these rookies who are not afraid of the moment. Tyler Hero is not scared, y'all.
Not at all.
That he is not scared. I was about to call him that brother. That brother. Adam, what have you seen from Tyler in the fourth, man? Closing lineup as a rookie with a bunch of vets. He's out there with Goran Dragic. Him and Bam are the young guys, but Bam is in his third or fourth year. Goran Dragic, Jimmy Butler, Andre Iguodala, and Tyler Hero is the one probably the most fearless on offense. What have you seen?
I mean, first off, we got to stop calling him a rookie. He's not a rookie anymore. He's like three months ago, sure. But I mean, have you seen a shot he didn't like in the fourth quarter? A shot that he hesitated on at any point of this season?
Yeah, that was very nice. It was. I thought it might be a little lucky, but it was short, smooth though. I mean,
I don't.
No, he meant it. He meant every bit of that.
That's right. He meant every single bit of that.
But I'm most impressed with him, though. Like, when you're watching the game, there are so many times where, and I'm especially, I look for this when I'm looking at young, active guards. There were so many times where, the shot clock is winding down, play is broken down, where he could have just gone one-on-one, and, give me a step back, give me a head down to the basket, try and draw a foul. But even in those situations, he still is very aware of the fact that Goran may have a better shot. Or even if Goran doesn't have the better shot, if I can get it to Goran and we can get a swing to the other corner,
that pass to
Olynyk Crowder shot. Yeah,
he's got Olynyk today. I mean, first of all, we never thought he had the strength to make some of these passes in the first place. And now it's not just about the strength, Alfredo. It's about the vision. He has a vision to see it, and he has the strength to get it there, which we didn't know.
Duncan Robinson too had several driving kicks where I was like, "Whoa, okay, Duncan."
And the intelligence. When he was matched up, there was one time he was matched up with Victor Oladipo, and they had cleared out the side, and he recognized that they were clearing out the side, and he decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to guard his dribble hand, so that way I'm giving him a wide open 3-point shot if he wants it. What did Victor Oladipo do? He broke the 3-point shot in Tyler Hero's face, when probably taking him off the dribble and getting a foul on him was probably a better idea. That's intelligence. And as far as his offense, like, he had some sequences that were just insane, where he was getting chased off the 3-point line, he was breaking somebody off the dribble, giving another head fake, getting to the baseline, creating space, and then hitting a jumper over somebody. So yeah, he's learning, he's growing.
I also like that he didn't just rely. He didn't just rely on the jumper. I think my man's name is Adam. When you were talking about that play where we had the 4 offensive rebounds, it ended with him getting the last loose ball in a layup. And as I was watching the game, he maybe had 3 or 4 of these type of buckets because I think that's sometimes what kills young shooters, their field goal percentage. It's like when you don't mix in enough easy twos, when you don't mix in enough 1 or 2 little layups here. And he got enough of those, I think, to keep him in a nice, steady shooting rhythm, so that even if he's not shooting the ball like as often as maybe he wants, those little plays where I'm touching it, I'm moving it, I'm getting layups, they help keep him, in the rhythm of the game.
He won't be pigeonholed as a spot up shooter, and that's
he will not. No.
That's the cool thing about it. And I want to. I listen. There's so many things we could talk about. We got about 9 minutes left. I want to talk about Spo, because a lot of people talk about Spo's timeouts. I mean, Spo, on a night that his 3-point shooters, and especially Duncan, were not making their shots, he did a lot of things that really controlled the pace of the game and really controlled the game in general. I would say when you talk about the first half, Malcolm Brogdon's been killing them for 3 games.
Yeah.
Doubled and trapped him. And they haven't been doing a lot of that. They did a ton of it in the first half. The second half, the adjustment, we a lot of times, and me included, I love Spo. I think he's the top 3 coach in the NBA right now. But I get on him all the time about the adjustments at the second half. What was the adjustment for the second half? Victor Oladipo doubled and trapped the entire second half. Yeah. So Adam, go ahead. Talk to me about, like, what did you see from Spo tonight? Like, I thought I saw a lot of really good adjustments. His team wasn't shooting well, so he decided, okay, we're gonna focus defensively, and we're just gonna keep these guys out of the paint, and we're gonna dictate the pace of the game.
If Spo could have coached a more perfect series, it would be unheard of, because he coached every single aspect of this series perfectly. From the adjustments between games to Tyler Hero and even Kendrick Nunn coming in and knowing exactly what they're supposed to do. But today especially, I felt that any time that the Pacers came between 5 or 6, Goran was the first guy off the bench coming in, and he would provide those relief points as soon as he came into the game. And I think that was probably the biggest change, other than the double teaming Malcolm or the double teaming Victor Oladipo. But every single time that they were between 5 to 6 points, Goran was in the game, and that was probably the biggest point for me.
That's exactly what I was going to say. That's my number one sign of a good coach and a solid team to me personally. Good teams know how to, like you were saying, maintain that 5 to 6 point cushion. Good teams know how to, okay, yeah, maybe I'm winning by 13, 14 for 3 minutes in this game. NBA teams go on runs. If you can weather the run while also maintaining 5, 6, 7 points, that drains that opposing team so much. You could see it on the Pacers. They're like, oh my gosh, we're down 15. Hustle, hustle, hustle. We got it down to 6. Oh shit, Kelly Olynyk just hit a 3 from the corner. Now it's back to 9. And that consistent, like, okay, we here. No, you're really not. It just drains people. And I think that's something that I've seen with the Heat. They've come a long way with that. I'm not scared in the fourth quarters of games, because they have realized, okay, let's pace this. Jimmy is great at that. Let's get a 2. Let's get a layup. Let's just keep the game going.
The confidence right now that you feel in the fourth quarter is you didn't feel that all season long, but now you just look at them, you're like, they're not you. And I think a lot of that has to do with Jimmy Butler, and you just like, he's not going to let them back in this game. Like, he's just not going to allow it. Like, whatever he has to do, whatever effort he has to put out there. And we saw it, but then we saw it from we've seen it from Goran. We've seen it from all these different guys. Andre Iguodala has been amazing. Bam Adebayo, versatility has been insane.
Iguodala and Jimmy Butler might be the worst but yet best. I need a jump shot shooters that I've seen in a long time. These are the two worst jump shooters, but Jimmy Butler will hit one for you when you need one. And so will Iguodala. I think Iguodala had at least one three that he caught off a swing, and I was like, damn.
Yeah, they were in the corner right in front of the bench. And he looked at him before he went in.
And that's one of those ones where it went from like a 7-point game to like a 10-point game or something. I think
it was a 6-point to a 9-point. It was there was that swing where it goes from it's in reach without beyond reach, and it was right in front of the Heat bench, and he turned around before the ball went in, and it was like, bro, you don't make shots like that. Like you're not that dude anymore. But in the fourth quarter, he is.
I know we about to end. Can I ask a question? No, I just want to ask for everybody here. Does anybody else wonder like what kind of practices? Everybody talks about how terrible the Heat. They're so hard, it's so grueling. But then when you see stuff like what you're just talking about, we turn around, we're cheering, we're putting Kendrick Nunn in. I'm like, are these practices really the hell that everybody says they are? Because I don't, unless it's like one of those Band of Brothers type things, like we just landed on Normandy, now we bonded forever. I'm like, they don't seem like the typical like it's so hard. Like I like to see the joy they have, basically.
I think maybe it's because they landed in Miami and they want to stay here forever. You know what I mean? It could be that.
Okay, Duncan Robinson is looking at Tyler Hero's girl right now, and he's like, "Well, I can get one of those here." Sign me up.
Yeah. So the mark of a great coach.
He's like, they didn't have that at Michigan. I'm saying
those girls ain't going to Minnesota, bro.
We got to give Hero credit for that because during quarantine, like I was one of those people who was like, he's not gonna come back ready. I'm sorry, his legs gonna be weak, But clearly, he was working in between working.
Maddox, he's 20 years old. Do you remember how you felt when you were 20?
Yeah, that's a valid point. Okay. Honestly, I don't remember because
it doesn't apply to him. It applies to old people like us.
Yeah,
it doesn't apply to him.
God.
But let me say the mark
Isaac Taylor and Vane Hype, they both donated also. Man, you guys got to shout them out, man.
Shout out to the donators. Vane Hype. I met Vane Hype at the Kendall Sports Grill. Good dude. Just thank you guys for all the support. Go ahead, Alfredo.
Let me say the mark of a great coach is getting like unlikely efforts from unlikely people, and Spo has shown he's always done that. And I think it's time, judging by what the standard bearer in the NBA has been, which is Greg Popovich, has done as of late. It's time to start considering Eric Spoelstra maybe the best coach in basketball, because what are the alternatives? Brad Stevens, Quinn Snyder. Rick Carlisle.
I think Nick Nurse is past Carlisle.
Okay, I think this whole series, Eric Spoelstra has shown that he has an answer for every single thing that Nate McMillan tried during this whole series. Because they tried a lot of different things. There are so many things that were taken away from us. In every series, we had an answer because Eric Spoelstra put us in a position to win.
What would be considered overachieving for this Heat team?
Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay.
I think I was just thinking that, so it took me a minute. I would have said Eastern Conference Finals, but I think honestly, I have no fear of the Milwaukee Bucks at all based on how we played them early this year. And I know sometimes that doesn't really mean much, you know what I mean? Like, oh, well, that was however many months ago and whatnot. But I think overachieving might be finals. Just me personally. I mean, who's listening to me on here? You know what I'm saying? But
I'm also thinking the same thing. I feel like the Pacers were the perfect team for us to start off the series with, because it was like a heated practice, right? Because they just did everything to us. They really did. And if you told a team, hey, you guys held the Miami Heat from 8 to 30 in the 3-point and 11 to 14 at the free throw line, everybody would be like, oh, awesome, Heat lost. But no, they just found a way to win, and I think it's been like that the whole time. And we've done so well during this playoff series. I think we're starting to hit on all ends, not during the whole game, but we're doing it.
Okay, let's kind of organize this, and because we only got a few minutes left, we're supposed to go 30 minutes, but we can go more, whatever. I don't want to just step on the post-game podcast. But let's look at the next round, because everyone was getting on us for looking ahead in the pregame show. There's no more looking ahead now. It's in front of us. It's going to be either the Bucks or the Magic, and we all know it ain't going to be the Magic. Like let's
know that.
Let's grow up.
But I will say this: I was watching this with the Magic, just to segue into what you're saying. That first game when they beat Milwaukee, they did what you have to do to beat Milwaukee, which is slow Giannis down in the full court, wall him off, because in the half court he's not a shooter. And if I see Giannis dribble hard left and spin back right one more time, and people do not respond to it as if it's his go-to move, but I say all that to say, if the Magic could do it for one game. If the Magic for one game, then the Heat can do it for 4 games or even 3 games. I'll give Giannis 2 games to go slap crazy, and we still win one of those.
Well, okay,
so here's been doing it for quarters, not just one game. They've been doing it at different games for like a quarter, and then they would go away from it for the rest of the game.
But I think a part of it is they don't have the personnel. So I'm going to give my quick hot take about the Bucks series because I'm going to be talking about this ad nauseum for a week. The Heat have the guys, right? They have the bodies to throw at Giannis, and they have the best Giannis defender in the NBA in Bam Adebayo. And if you could stick Bam Adebayo on Giannis for 40 minutes, you're not going to neutralize Giannis, but you're going to make him inefficient, and you're going to decrease his ability to pass out. And that's where they kill you. Because you pay so much attention to Giannis that guys like Chris Middleton just square up and kill you. And what the Magic did a lot of times, they walled off Giannis, but they also trapped Middleton, and Middleton don't know how to handle that kind of pressure. No. So the thing is, the Heat can guard Giannis with guys, individual guys, way better than the Magic can. They have DJJ, which I don't know if he's strong enough, but he's there. You got Jay Crowder, you got Andre Iguodala, you got Jimmy Butler, and you have the ultimate in Bam Adebayo. You got 5 bodies that you could throw at Giannis to the point where you don't have to triple team him all the time. You could send those very timely double teams with a guy like Dragic, who's very good with his hands, who can strip the ball down low. And they've done that very well. Tyler Hero's really good at that. Kendrick Nunn is one of the biggest problems because he's not timely on the double teams, and he's not getting enough minutes. But what I'm trying to say is that he are set up very well to either beat the Bucks or play them very hard. So like I said, I'm going to talk about this ad nauseum for a week on 5 on the Floor. So I want to get your guys' takes on this. So I'm just going to go around the clock, right? I'm going to start with Matthew. Heat, Bucks, next round. What are you seeing happen? Give me 30 seconds.
Okay, so going on what you said, right, we have so many individual bodies that can go at the Bucks. Our closing lineup has at least 4 people that can individually guard Giannis. So that means that if the game is close.
Wait. I'm stopping you, Matthew. They don't have 4 guys in that closing lineup that can guard Giannis.
Andre, Jimmy, Bam.
That's
Jay?
it.
Crowder?
Well, no, Jay's only been in one time. Let's not.
Well, we don't know. We don't know yet.
Okay, but no, you're right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
They have at least 3. Depending on what Eric Spoelstra does, they might have 4, right? So I think that we've been practicing this to play the Bucks. I know that we don't like to look ahead, and I know that Eric Spoelstra says we're focusing on this team, but I do believe that every team tries to get some practice in before you play that next team. And I'll be sad and angry if we don't at least take this to 6 to 7 games.
Alfredo, Bucks.
Okay, Budenholzer tries to find ways to initiate offense with Giannis. And one of the ways that he tries to do it is try to set a bunch of picks at midcourt and try to get him the ball at the top of the key so he can initiate offense. Most teams like to use a smaller guy, namely a point guard, to guard the ball on Giannis when he's at the top of the key. Don't do that. Just send your big guys over there and guard his hands.
That's what I was going to say.
The Bucks are best when Giannis, it's very simple. He's taller, he's longer, he's skilled. If he could pass over you, he could pass around you, he could shoot over you, he's going to beat you. So you send your big guys, you send your guys that have length to guard his hands and ball pressure constantly all game in his face and make everybody else beat you.
Adam.
To be quite honest, I think I don't have the guts. I think Bucks in 6. I just think that the key to stopping the Bucks is going to be Bam, and he's going to be the key to whatever they do in the future. But I think Bam is going to get, for a few games, he's going to get into foul trouble a little too many times during, over the course of the series. And I think that's what's going to stop the Heat. And going back from what you were saying earlier, I think overachieving would actually be losing to the Bucks in 7. As much of a downer as it is, I just don't. The one move that Giannis has that nobody can seem to stop is that spin right under the basket that nobody knows how to stop. I just don't know what you can do about it except for walling off guys, and then you'll have Chris Middleton open for 3. So I don't know what the Heat can do about it, but we'll see.
I'll tell you what they can do about it.
Adam, you need a drink.
We could do what Alfredo just was saying. I feel as if the key to success here, like you said, Bam, DJJ, for Alf's point about length, DJJ is a great one-on-one defender. Strength, maybe not, but can he stay in front of Giannis enough? The key with Giannis is you want to make him dribble more than he has to. He still can't shoot. These are the facts that we do know. He's basically the same player from last year in the playoffs. Maybe a little more aggressive, a little more seasoned, but he still has the same weaknesses. If you play him straight up and you cover those so he's not driving and kicking to Middleton and DiVincenzo, and you make him have to beat you just one-on-one, then we can afford to give Giannis 30 points. You know what I'm saying? The person who I'm really worried about is the freaking Lopez brother, the shooter. He's the one who, no matter what you do, I mean, that he's a stretch 5 that legit causes problems. However, I feel like if you guard Giannis one-on-one and you just ask your best defenders to do their best job, don't double off of them and make everybody else have to beat you, like what Alfredo was saying. So I think you got a chance to win that series.
So here's my thing: who starts on Giannis? Because we've seen that Spo is not comfortable with 4 quarters with Bam on Giannis. I think Jay Crowder starts on Giannis and Bam starts on Brook Lopez, because you don't want Bam in foul trouble. You just don't. Like, come on.
Do y'all think Spo is going to pull the zone out? I mean, you got a team who's been shooting. Eric Bledsoe's a terrible shooter. Middleton is on a terrible little slump right here. Giannis is not a shooter like that.
Listen, I like the zone in small doses, right? The problem with the season with the zone, it became like their primary defense until they made that trade, which is like a lot of people were mad at me like, oh, I've been a Justice supporter. How could I support that trade? Because Justice wasn't healthy.
Justice
right?
who?
Justice Winslow. Justice wasn't healthy, and Dion and JJ. I mean, come on, like they were unplayable.
Yeah, it was zone out of necessity, and
because you didn't have the matchups. Now they put a lineup out. I was watching today. Like the Pacers are looking for mismatches. There are none.
No.
Mm-hmm. But we're talking about the Bucks, and I'm saying Lopez is your biggest, I think, mismatch that we have outside of Giannis. Everybody else, I think we can square up pretty evenly. But Robin Lopez is a bit of a Brook Lopez is a bit of a
Robin's a goofy one off the bench.
Yeah,
I'll say.
Go ahead.
I'll say the one thing that the Heat actually having a bit of an advantage is their guard play defensively, because the guards on the Bucks aren't as explosive, aren't as good as the guards on the Pacers. So we're not going to see all these blow-bys that we've seen in this series. So I think that's going to be pretty big for guys like Tyler Hero, Goran Dragic.
Adam, I think that's huge because we talk about on 5 on the floor, the point of attack defense on the Heat is just terrible. But you saw in this series, it wasn't that big of a deal because Victor Oladipo doesn't have all of his explosiveness. And when he did start to get his act together, they put Jay Crowder on him, and they also double teamed him and trapped him a lot. So that explosiveness wasn't as effective. And the Bucks don't have those guys. My concern with the Heat is when it comes to the Raptors and the Celtics.
Yeah.
When you're going up against Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry, Kemba Walker, all these boys as Stephen A. Smith,
and them boys.
Kemba Walker and them boys. That's where I get concerned about the Heat. But the problem with the Bucks is Giannis is a monster. So but the Heat also have the guys for Giannis. I think we're gonna, and I'm probably gonna end this here because we're at 40 minutes. We're 10 minutes over. I think we're going to talk about this series. Well, of course, we're going to talk about the series a lot going forward. The most important thing is I think the thing that we have to look at is the Heat in the second round is where we all wanted them to be at the beginning of the season, and at this point, it's a win. I think a sweep would be if the Heat got swept, it'd be a huge disappointment. But the Heat taking the Bucks to 6 or 7, and if the Heat win, that's all icing on the cake, and we got to start looking forward to next year. But we will talk more about the Heat Bucks series on 5 on the Floor, or the Heat Magic series, to be politically correct. But I want to thank everybody the chat has been live, man. It's extremely live. Like there's a million comments. Thank you for everybody supporting 5 on the Floor, supporting 5 Reasons Sports. Check out 3 yards per carry. I'm gonna go around and let everybody promote their own shit because I'm over anyway. Matt, promote what you got.
Check out the show Friends of 5 and check out our sponsors. Manscaped, use the code 5RSN to shave that bush, you get 20% off plus free shipping. and not at the same time, but you should probably pick up a tropical ale, you want to get one of these in. Don't do it at the same time. Do not come to us and complain about the results.
Don't drink before you shave your balls. But if you are going to drink before you shave your balls, use Manscaped because it's like the playoffs, no Knicks. Go ahead, Alfredo. Go ahead.
All right, check out 3 yards per carry. We're going to be on Wednesday. I'm at camp every single day. I'm sneaking information out of there, incognito, so they don't catch me. I've already been, admonished twice. I've been going to camp for like 30 years, but, So check us out. Good coverage. Just as good a coverage as you're going to get anywhere, especially on the Dolphins. So
straight up.
Adam B., what are you doing over here?
I'm the guy behind Clutch. You can find me at Clutch NBA at 5R. I got nothing else to plug, so
you're doing a great job over there, though. That hype video you had for the playoffs, legit. That was
good.
Thank you.
Christopher Maddox, what do you got to promote?
Light Skin Opinions right here on the 5 Reasons podcast. Also, look me up on Amazon. We got books for sale, audio books, all type of literature for y'all who read, and for you other reprobates, y'all can catch me cussing on the TV and stuff and how we do it, Alf. That's all I got, Alf.
All right, so you guys know me, Alf954, 5 on the Floor, and Light Skinned Opinions out here getting racially profiled by Sunrise Police. We out here doing it big, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. We love you guys. It's probably going to be 4 or 5 days before we see you again. But check out the podcast. We'll also still be doing Floor is Yours at 8 p.m. on Thursday night. Check out all the podcasts. Light Skin Opinions is dropping tonight. We have a new show, the second part 2 of our show with Bernard Ashby, Dr. Bernard Ashby, who you see all the time on MSNBC. One of the biggest COVID specialists in the country. But we didn't talk to him about COVID. We talked to him about me, him, and Chris being in high school and making fun of each other at the lunch table. So that's your from Light Skin Opinions. Check out 5 on the Floor. Check out Floor is Yours. Check out all the other shows on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. We love you guys. Good night.